It's Pat from Asteroid X back with more tariff news that will immediately impact Amazon sellers and how much profit that we can make. So, uh, you know, when the tariffs were first introduced on April 2nd, they were different amounts per country. And now, they've been walked back to a baseline 10% on all the countries worldwide, except for one very important exception that's extremely important to Amazon sellers, and that is China. China currently has, at the time of recording in late April 2025, China has an 145% tariff rate. So basically, without saying it, a tariff that high pretty much makes it impossible to profitably source products from China and sell them on Amazon. Because after Amazon fees and now these tariff fees, you're done. You're cooked. There's no profit margin anymore. And so the question is that I wanted to address in this video is, what do we do? Do we stop sourcing from China altogether? Do we wait it out? Do we diversify? So, two scenarios that I could think of that may happen with China, and that's really what this has been about all along. Is this sort of U.S. versus China trade relations? It wasn't the U.S. versus the entire world, as the initial April 2nd announcement may have made it look. This was mainly to single out China in many ways. And so, question is, what's going to happen, right? And I think one of two things could happen. I've prepared two scenarios for you, and I'll go through them really quickly here. Number one, which I think is most likely, is that a trade deal between the U.S. and China is struck. I don't know when, but in the coming months, a trade deal is struck. However, I don't think that the tariffs are going to be where they were, which was zero, and I don't think that de minimis exemption for packages under, $800. I think that's still going to be off the table, and so I think that a reasonable tariff range, for brands importing products from China to the U.S. will still be like 10 to 40%, something like that. And because that's the case, 145% is a non-starter. But even say if it goes down to 25%, how much profit is there left for Amazon brands? Not a ton, right? It's definitely still somewhat cost prohibitive. And so I think, that's the nuance here. I think even if a trade deal is done, it doesn't mean the problem is solved profit-wise for Amazon brands. I think probably it's still smart to diversify supply chains out, even if you're the type of person who thinks that a trade deal is going to get done. And of course, in the second scenario, if a trade deal is not struck and tariffs stay up at 145%, again, I think it's unlikely. But then it's at least time immediately to start moving production to other countries. You can stay in Asia if you'd like. This is Vietnam, Cambodia, Bangladesh, India. Apple has just announced, again at the time of recording, that they're moving a ton of iPhone production. iPhones going to the U.S. and to U.S. consumers will be made in India over the coming years, and not in China at all. So that's sort of it. So I think even if a trade deal, so this is how I think about it. Even if a trade deal is struck, it makes sense to diversify your supply chain, because even if it gets struck, the tariffs are still going to be higher and the profit potential is going to be lower. Now, there's an interesting opportunity that I wanted to point out for Amazon sellers at this specific point in time. While tariffs are still up at 145%, there's this window of opportunity where Chinese brands are not really going to be able to send in new inventory to the US and sell on Amazon.com. So if you're a US seller selling on Amazon.com, get your SKUs from a different place, dodge those tariffs, right? Legally by by producing it in a different place, and Chinese factories will not be able to import as easily. So if you're in one of those Amazon markets where you had a ton of Chinese competition that directly coming in from China, there's a window of opportunity where they won't be advertising as much. Their listings may be down. They may have stocked out of inventory, and so this is actually a really cool opportunity to run. It's like driving on the highway late at night where there's not a lot of traffic. You just full speed ahead. Right. So that's a few additional thoughts on the China-U.S. tariff situation as it stands right now. Leave a comment. We'll help out as much as we can. Thanks a lot, and talk to you soon.